Hey, this is Gary. I put out a YouTube video a few weeks ago about how everything is in a state of flux and our current stable, not so stable uh, structures of things, if it's government or even our relationships, our jobs, everything is kind of in a state of flux. And this is causing that subconscious um, unease, dis-ease, and a little bit of anxiety underneath. So when things are being pulled apart in shamanism, we call this a dismemberment. All things die and decompose and are reborn from the remains, like fertilizer. So that seems to be happening now with different things. But instead of being upset with these things, I feel Spirit is calling us to different principles. So it's time to ask Spirit for help and to decide what we want. What do we want to create in this time? What kind of world do we want? What do we want for ourselves and our family? What do we want for our community? And then what do we want for the country and the whole as a greater time, or as a greater whole? So we're all indigenous from somewhere. So what I've done is I've pulled shamanic and indigenous principles that we can borrow without cultural appropriation, just principles that we can use to build a better connection with ourselves, better connection with spirit, better connection with the earth, and connection with each other. And I feel strongly that this is what Spirit wants me to teach now, along with other things I teach on, like healing trauma and how shamanism can help with healing trauma. By the way, I'm Gary Chatham. I have a master's in counseling. I am a certified shamanic practitioner, a Reiki master, and I work with people from all over the world through Zoom and also in person here in Central Illinois on healing trauma. And I have a special niche for healing the healers, healing and helping people who have their own healing calling work through their own trauma, work through their own issues at a much deeper level than talk therapy. My slogan is talk therapy only goes so far. And then launch out into their callings. So let's get back to this topic, and I'm going to make more than one video on this, but this is the first one. So if we're going to start creating positive things and what we want in the world now, the first priority is to focus on physical, emotional, and spiritual healing for yourself and your family. And I'm going to run through the rest of the principles, and then I'll go back to one in detail. So the second principle is realize that God and Spirit is in earth and nature and in all things, and that you can connect with Spirit through nature and in other ways like meditation, but connecting through nature. The third principle is make a vow that you will be the best lover and protector of the earth and nature that you can be. Fourth, connect with the earth itself. Spend time in nature. What is Mother Earth saying to you today? Do you feel the energy from the trees? Do you feel messages from animal guides coming to you in physical form, having something to say to you today? Fifth principle is honor your ancestors. Honor the ancestors of the earth where you live. So that could be the Native Americans that lived where you live if you're in the US. Honor the ancestors of the spiritual traditions you follow. What spiritual traditions do you follow? And go back and honor and thank those ancestors. And then honor the ancestors and thank the ancestors of your own family and your bloodlines. Connect with them and what messages do they have for you. The sixth principle is create healthy rites of passage for young people, especially through a connection with the earth. A lot of problems with our younger people come from not having a sense of community, not having a strong sense of family, not being connected with elders. And I'm sure that's not true of everyone. But if they have a tribe and they have healthy rites of passage, recognizing them, recognizing their achievements, and moving into adulthood, that will solve some things. The seventh principle is honor and connect with the elders in your own community. Foster connections between them and the young people in your community as well. The eighth principle is Begin to consciously reimagine and recreate the world with others. So, what do you want things to be in your community? What do you want things to be as a greater whole? What steps can you take as an individual? And then how can you connect with the others to make that happen? Principle 9 is build a tribe and use these principles as part of that. Connect with others on a similar spiritual path in or outside your local area. And 10, share resources and help each other. So those are the principles. So here's the little more focus on the first one, focusing on the physical, emotional, and spiritual healing for yourself and your family. And as I said before, I made another video about this. That's the first thing that Spirit is calling us to do now, because as empaths or healers, we may feel stress from what's happening, the anxiety and the things being pulled apart, the dismemberment, like I said, things changing on a big scale. Then that can drive sensitive people crazy. So I understand that. But right now, Spirit is calling healers into action. Healers of all different types for different purposes, using different modalities for physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. This healing is a priority on earth right now. And if we're going to create what we want on the earth, first we have to focus on our own healing inside and out. We'll never be perfectly healed, but if we desire to bring healing to ourselves and the earth, then we need to be actively engaged in working on our own healing, physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetic. So find and join a spiritual group that creates positive ripples from the effects of that group into your community. Find other connections online and help each other. Create positive ripples just by how you go out and how you interact with the checkout person where you shop. Be nice to them. Bring positive love wherever you go, and that's a small thing. But focus on your issues. What issues, maybe childhood trauma, maybe other things that are coming up in your life, in your relationships. Maybe you need to change something in your work. Spirit is calling you to help others, and the first part is helping yourself and focusing on your healing. I am there to help you with that healing. If you want to connect with other people for help, that's great too. But that first principle, if we're going to start shifting things in a positive way on the earth, then we need to work on healing ourselves. And after we get to a point of shift where we're going from more unhealed to more healed, then we can be a lot more effective as being the open pipe for Spirit and carrying the light of healing to other people. So we'll never be 100% healed, but be more healed. So I am available for you. HawkShamanichealing.com is my website if you have questions. And I'm going to make more videos going into more detail with some of the other principles. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please get back with me and let me know if you have any questions or comments.